Thank you all for tuning into Big Mama Story Time. Story Time! Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment to my page. Here we go. Hi guys, thank you all for tuning in to Big Mama Story Time. On today we are doing our marathon, our Halloween marathon book reading of finishing this whole Disney book. We are on our last story, guys. This last story is Disney's Pixar's Monsters Inc. The Spooky Slumber Party. All right, guys, let's get into this last book. This last story. All right. It was a quiet morning at Monsters Inc. The new president, James P. Sullivan, also known as Sully, had gotten in early to catch up on his paperwork. Sully smiled as he reviewed the monthly lab reports. A few months earlier, the company had gone through a big change. Instead of using screens, they now converted children's labs into energy. It made everyone, monsters and kids alike, a lot happier. Suddenly, the phone rang. "Hello?" said Sully. "It's dispatch," said the voice at the other end of the line. "Annual slumber party at little Shannon Brown's house. Waxford is out sick. We need a replacement." "I'll get right on it," said Sully. Lots of kids mean lots of laughs, thought Sully. He wanted to make sure he had his best monster on the case. Sully didn't have to think about it for long. What better monster for the job than his one-eyed pal, Mike Wazowski? Mike was the top lab collector at Monsters Inc., and Sully knew his best friend would be perfect for the job. Mike was in the locker room getting ready for work. He had just finished putting in his contact lens, which was the size of a pizza, when Sully walked in. Sully explained the situation to Mike. "I'm your man," said Mike. "Great," said Sully, whistling. He went back to his office to finish his lab reports. "Piece of cake," Mike said as the door slid into his station. "One joke and I'll collect enough energy for the year." Then Mike burst through the closet door. But oddly enough, the room was empty. Hello?" said Mike. He looked around the room, but there was no slumber party in sight. Mike peeked under the bed, but there was nothing there either. I wonder where everyone is, he thought. Maybe I should just head back. Just as Mike started walking back toward the closet, he heard the faint sound of laughter. "All right, now we're in business," Mike said out loud. "Kids, prepare to laugh." But just then, thunder cracked across the sky, and lightning flashed through the room. Mike jumped. If there was one thing Mike didn't like, it was a thunderstorm. "I'm okay. I'm fine," Mike shouted. Then he ran to the closet door to return to the factory. But there was no way out. Mike kept trying the door, but it wasn't leading back to Monsters Inc. It just opened into the closet. Mike soon realized that lightning must have struck the door, causing it to malfunction. "Don't panic, don't panic," Mike repeated, his voice shaking. He knew he had to find the slumber party in another closet door fast. Mike took a deep breath, rubbed his eye, and headed out of the room and into the dark hallway. He was sure he heard laughter coming from somewhere. Now all he had to do was find it. As he started walking, the floor creaked beneath him. Halfway down the dark hallway, Mike stopped and looked around. There were paintings on the wall that looked very creepy and gave him goosebumps. He was pretty sure the people in the paintings were staring right at him. "I gotta get out of here," Mike muttered to himself as he continued down the hallway, but he suddenly stopped in his tracks. Mike couldn't believe his eye. At the end of the hall was a large furry creature with fangs. It was panting and heavily. As Mike walked toward the creature, it lunged at him, knocking him down. Within seconds, it began to lick Mike. Ah! He shouted. Dog breath! Mike hated dogs. He pushed the dog away and ran into a nearby room. He slammed the door shut. Meanwhile, back at Monsters, Inc., Sully was working down on the lab floor when the floor manager came running over. He reported that Mike still hadn't returned from the slumber party. When Sully went to check on the door, he discovered it had malfunctioned. Uh-oh, said Sully. I gotta help my little buddy. So, Sully brought in a maintenance crew to fix the door. Together, the monsters pulled levers and pushed buttons. They even read from the Emergency Monsters Inc. manuals. Sully and the monsters worked long and hard to figure out how to get the door to work again so Mike could come back. Finally, they got it operating. Back in the house, Mike squealed as he tripped on a yellow rubber ducky and went rolling across the floor. When he came to a stop, Mike heard a lot of loud chuckles and giggles coming from down the hall. Mike did not like this assignment or this house, but he was determined to find the party, so he lifted himself off the floor and followed the laughter. But when he found the right door and opened it, there seemed to be nobody there. Slowly, Mike entered the dark, quiet room. All of a sudden, a light went on. Mike jumped. He was surrounded by Shannon Brown and all her friends. Ah! Mike let out the biggest scream in the history of screams. The girl roared with laughter at the little green monster. At that exact moment, the door burst open and Sully came barging through. Sully was so surprised to find Mike screaming that all he could do was let out an equally big scream. Then Mike jumped right into Sully's arm. All the girls at the slumber party laughed and laughed and laughed. A big blue monster with purple spots hugging a one-eyed little green monster was one of the funniest things they had ever seen. Mike and Sully caught their breath. Then they each took a bow. Looks as if our work here is done, Sully said. He and Mike headed through the closet door and back to the Monsters, Inc. lab floor. They had filled so many canisters that Mike met his lab quota for the entire week. All right, guys, it looks like, honestly, I'm so sorry. I did not know that this page was ripped out. This is a used book, just so you guys know. But if you guys want to see this book or get this book, you can go on my website. As you guys know, it is ripped out. Didn't know that last page was ripped out, guys, till just now. Again, I don't read these books until I go through them, but I did not notice that last page was ripped out. Excuse me, sorry about that. But I hope you guys like that last story that I read of this book. I hope you guys enjoyed this whole little marathon that I had planned and, ready for you guys. I hope you guys enjoy it. Please leave comments. I will leave the comment section open, so you guys can leave your comments. Let me know how you like them, how you felt about them, how you felt about the whole thing. Did you like it? Because I'm thinking about doing it for Christmas and maybe Thanksgiving. Not really sure, but definitely probably New Year's. But I just want to see, because I kind of want to do it for the holidays. But just let me know what you guys think, okay? I would really love to hear from you guys. All right, I thank you guys again. Thank you all for tuning in to Big Mama Storytime. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to my page if you haven't done so already. I will have the links to each and every one of these stories that I have read out of this book if you guys want to see all of the other ones. All right, guys, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. Bye.